Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Scotsman, the channel where we bring you the treasured art of Scottish storytelling. Join us as we captivate your senses with relaxing readings of poetry, folk tales, historical accounts, and legends from all over Scotland, the world's biggest wee country. In this week's story, we delve into the coastal Scottish lowlands of Fife with the tale of the man in the boat. So, sit back, relax, and let us transport you to the enchanting world of Scottish folklore. The Man in the Boat. Long ago, near Rannochmoor, there lived a laird, and he owned a lot of land and had lots of farmhouses, cotter houses, and gamekeepers' houses on this land. And every year this laird used to give a great big ceilidh for all the district. People came from far and near to attend. Many of them looked forward to it for months and practised what they were going to do at the ceilidh. Now this laird, unannounced to anybody, he dabbled a wee bit in the black art, in mesmerism. But he never used it for any wickedness, only for playing tricks on some of his friends. And he also had a cattleman called Sandy. Now Sandy was a simple man. He was good with the animals, at feeding them and looking after them, but he was quite a simple man otherwise. He always looked forward to this ceilidhs, but he would never do anything. So this year, the laird said, "Now there's new rules. Everybody must take their turn and do something. And the rules are this, that you tell a story, sing a song, show your bum or out you gang." So, at this ceilidh, it wasn't only singing, dancing, storytelling and music. There was all sorts of tricks and games and feats of strength and things like that the country folk were so fond of doing. And one of the events was to see who could tell the biggest lie. The winner of every event got a golden guinea, which was an awful lot of money at that time. Now the thing went round and round, singing, dancing and everything else. And every time it came Sandy's turn, he would say, "No, no, laird, you ken fine, I canna date nothing. I canna, no, no." So the laird just let him sit there a while until it came to an event in which everybody had to try and see who could tell the biggest lie. And when it came Sandy's turn, the laird says, "Come on, Sandy, here's your chance. I'm sure you could tell a lee." "No, no," Sandy says, "you ken fine, laird, I canna tell a lee. I canna think o' a lee to tell." "Come on, Sandy," the laird says. "This is your last chance." "No, I just canna," Sandy said. "Well," the laird said, "that's it. If you canna do anything here, you'll go oot. You can go and make yourself useful some other way. I'll tell you what you can do. Go down to the water and clean my boat, and bail the water out it, because I'll be using it soon." So Sandy's away out, with his tail between his legs sort of thing, his head hanging down, and he tramps away down. He was really low, because he didn't get leave to stay at the ceilidh. He enjoyed it so much. But he got to the boat, and he scraped all the green mossy algae off it. And then he bailed out the water, but he had to step into the boat to get the water at the bottom. And when he stepped into the boat, this boat took off with him. Like a swift, it went across the water, and Sandy couldna swim. But even if he could have swum, there was no way that he could have got back. This boat were going so swiftly across the water. And he sat there, his simple mind just completely confounded, in a daze, because he could not understand what was happening. But after a while, he gave himself a shake and came to himself again. And when he looked down at himself, there on his feet were beautiful green satin slippers, beautiful silk stockings, and a taffeta dress. He felt himself all up. He was dumbfounded before, but he was 1,000 times mair dumbfounded then. He didna ken what was happening to himself. He felt this golden ringlets and this lovely smooth skin o' his face. He looked over the side of the boat into the water, and there was as bonny a lassie as ever your eyes beheld gazing up at him. And he got still mair dumbfounded. He just sat there. He didna come to himself till he felt the boat scrape the bottom at the other side of the water. Then she, because he was a she now, stood up and looked at this wee bit of water between the boat and the land, wondering how she would get there without wetting her lovely green satin slippers. And just then, who should come along the bank of the water but a young man? He looked down and saw this beautiful lassie in distress. So he ran down the bank, lifted her out of the boat and set her on the ground. And he said, "Where's your oars?" I don't know," she said in a beautiful lady's voice. He says, "Well, you must have had a paddle or an oar before you could get here." She says, "Well, I just don't know. I can't remember what happened to them." And he said, "Well, where did you come from?" She says, "I came from the other side of the water." He said, "I know you came from the other side of the water, but what's the name of the place or the farm that you come from?" I really can't remember," she said. She didn't want to say. And then he said, "Can you remember where you're going?" "No," she said, "I can't." "Can you remember your name then? What's your name?" Now, he didn't want to say, "I'm Sandy the cattleman from such and such a farm." So she just says, "I can't remember." "I know what's happened," this young man said. "You've probably lost your oar, and trying to get it, you've bumped your head on the boat, and now you've lost your memory. But dinna worry, it'll come back again in a day or two. But I think you should come home with me to my mother, and she'll look after you till your memories come back." So he took her home to his mother, and the mother liked her, and she helped the mother round the house. But weeks and weeks went past, and there was no sign or memory coming back. And eventually this young man fell in love. They got married and had two of the bonniest bairns that you could see in a month's walk. Every Sunday they went out for a walk with the bairns when he wasna working. But this particular Sunday, she said, "I would like to go down the waterside today." "Oh, that's fine," he said. "Yes," she says, "we haven't been down there for a long, long time." So away they went, down the waterside with the two bairns, and suddenly she cried out, "Oh, look! There's the little boat that I came in. Oh, look, it's half sunk with water. And look at all that moss. I must go and clean it." So she ran down the bank and scraped the moss off the boat, and she started to bail out the water. She had to step into the boat to reach the water at the bottom, and the boat takes off with her again. Before the young man ran down the bank and put the bairns down, the boat was right away out almost in the middle of the water, and she started to howl and scream, "Take me back, take me back, take me back, my man and my bairns, take me back." But of course, the boat never let on it heard her. It just kept going, and she howled and gret and howled and gret for her man and for her bairns. And she covered her face with her hands. She sat there, just the tears running down between her fingers. Then she took her hands away, and when she looked down at herself, there on her feet was this old tackety boots and this old moleskin trousers, and them a covered with coo's sharn, and this old sleeve waistcoat. And he felt himself up, he felt the stubbles, he looked over the side of the boat. There was Sandy, the old cattleman, and he gave a howl that would have wakened the dead and started to scream, "No, no, no, I want back to my man and my bairns, no, no." But he just wept and howled, and he couldn't stop. He was really upset. And then he felt the boat scrape the bottom right back where it had started. He jumped out of the boat and ran up towards the farm. He had to pass this great big barn where they held the ceilidhs, and there was a ceilidh going on. He went and peeped in the door. The laird saw him, and the laird says, "Aye, Sandy." And Sandy says, "Dinna speak to me." He says, "What's the matter with you, man?" Sandy says, "Dinna speak to me. It's my man and my bairns, my man and my bairns." And he went to run away. "Come back, Sandy. Come on and tell us about it." So Sandy came in, and he sat down beside the laird. He said, "That's a good laddie. Stop greeting now. Sit down and tell us a' about it." So Sandy sat, and he told them what had happened. And Sandy had really only been away for 20 minutes, because the laird had mesmerised him, and the event was still going on to see who could tell the biggest lie in fact. So the laird turned round and he said, "Well, Sandy, that is definitely the biggest lie we've heard the night. You've won the golden guinea." And that's the end of that story. Thank you for tuning in to the Sleepy Scotsman. We hope this reading helped you relax and provided you with a taste of Scotland's rich cultural heritage. If you're enjoying our content, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a wee comment with your thoughts, give us a like, or even consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with all of our captivating stories. Thank you for listening, and all the best.